I'm a good guy. Now, we all know that I'm not, because I'm very clear with all of you that I'm a narcissistic psychopath. But I do things which are labelled as good, and I do things which are labelled as bad. The concept, of course, of good and bad are that, a concept and a perception. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, remember. But with the specifics of the proclamation or declaration of I'm a good guy, or I'm a nice guy, what's actually going on? Well, you may have come across repeated protestations from men saying, why won't girls date a good guy like me? Or, why can't they see that I'm a nice guy? What's wrong with them? Or, why won't they want to date a gentleman such as me? I would point out that the companion piece to this, I'm a good girl, will be coming, but this video focuses on the male manifestation of this phenomenon of saying, I'm a good guy, or I'm a nice guy. What's actually going on when somebody keeps stating that and is bewildered as to why they aren't dating people? Well, if you come across somebody that exhibits this attitude of, I'm a good man and I can't understand why I can't get girls, or I'm such a nice guy, why won't they date me? This is a significant red flag. It does not of itself mean that the person is a narcissist. As I have explained elsewhere, you cannot make a determination from one act alone. What you must do is look at a series of acts over a sustained period of time to ascertain whether the relevant indicators are seen time and time again. And of course you can do that by putting somebody through the narc detector. Details in the video description. So just because somebody comes out with comments along the lines of, why can't they see I'm a nice guy, what's wrong with them, why won't they date me, that doesn't mean that the person is a narcissist. But it is a huge red flag, and you need to proceed with caution in relation to anybody who speaks in such terms, as there is the possibility that they are a narcissist. Why might that be? Well, it isn't all narcissists who operate in this way. Lesser narcissists won't. They don't think of themselves as particularly good people. And, more often than not, they think themselves perhaps as a bit of a bad boy. It's my way or the highway. Don't like the way that I carry on? Fuck you, it's your problem. Upper mid-rangers are more arrogant, and they wouldn't regard it as a problem. Indeed, they're more likely to be able to secure victims and not find themselves wondering about this issue. They also operate with a facade, like other mid-range narcissists, but do so more of a facade of superiority, as opposed to believing themselves to be intrinsically a good person. Sure, yeah, I trample on a few people, but that's their problem, they should have tried harder at school, is an attitude that would manifest from an upper mid-ranger. With the greater and the ultra, they would never engage in such a passive-aggressive bleating as to say, but I'm a nice guy and why won't they date me? Where this is issued by a narcissist, you will find it amongst lower mid-range, and especially middle range A and middle range B. Those groupings believe themselves to be good people. They believe that they're empathic. They believe that they're kind, decent, and honest, that they are good men, and they are mystified as to why people cannot see that. Indeed, they will often go to extreme and sustained lengths to demonstrate their authenticity as a good person, repeatedly giving examples of their good nature, getting people to agree that they are good people, proclaiming it at every opportunity. And as often the case with situations like this, it's similar to the quote from Margaret Thatcher, who said, "Power is like being a lady. If you have to insist that you are one, then you're probably not." And again, the necessity of keep explaining that they are a good person, a nice guy, belies the fact that they're unlikely to be one, and there is a strong possibility that you're dealing with a narcissist. What is behind the behaviour? Well, of course, it demonstrates a sense of entitlement. I'm a nice person, these people should date me. Well, you can be a decent person and still a person doesn't want to date you because you don't have similar interests or they're not physically attracted to you. Somebody who is not a narcissist may be a little bit hurt that they won't be dated, but they will be able to understand that even though they are a decent person, they'd recognise, yes, perhaps we're not compatible, or she's not interested in dating at the moment, she would rather be my friend, and such like, and they will be able to accept that because they don't have an inherent need for control. But a narcissist cannot understand why that person wouldn't choose them. The narcissism tells him that he's a good person, that he's empathic, kind, fun, interesting, sweet, and therefore who wouldn't want a guy like him? His narcissism tells him that he is a gentleman, and that that's the way to behave in this world, rather than the arsehole bad boys. Of course, the lower mid-range, middle range A or middle range B narcissist that believes that he's a good person often exhibits behaviours which demonstrate that he's not, but he can't see them. The narcissism blinds him to it. The nice behaviours are not nice behaviours, but he thinks that they are. So, for instance, the repeated pestering of somebody to go on a date, the hoovering of that individual, is not pleasant, but the narcissist doesn't see that. He just thinks, why wouldn't you want to date me? I'm a good guy. I can't understand why you're saying no. The fact of using excessive flattery and to keep portraying those credentials of being a good guy is wearing on that individual. Often, this type of narcissist that portrays themselves as being a good guy will make unsolicited approaches. They will suddenly slide into somebody's direct messages. They will suddenly message them out of the blue, shortly after perhaps the acceptance of a friend request. They'll often come out with things such as, I've seen you in the lecture and wanted to know whether you'd like to go out for a drink tonight. I'm a good guy. Rather than try and establish a rapport by going and talking to them, they immediately operate with this sense of entitlement, trying to assert control, but don't realise that's what they're actually doing. And this unsolicited approach is not welcomed. Invariably, the prospective victim feels that it's creepy, too much, invasive. But of course, the narcissist that believes that he's a good guy can't see it. I was only messaging her. Isn't that the way that things are done these days? I was just being friendly. Why she complained about me? I can't see it. It will manifest indeed as stalking, following this person around, because the paranoia of the narcissist drives them to believe that there might be a competitor. There has to be somebody else if she doesn't choose me. I'm a good guy. I'm a really good catch. I'm a gentleman. I'm a nice guy. There must be something wrong with her, or maybe she's seeing somebody else even though she says that she's not. And this drives the narcissist to assert control by trying to find out what that individual is doing, who are they with, leading to them stalking. It can lead, of course, to the supposed I'm a good guy type of narcissist to go and approach friends and family of the victim. This again is invasive, a failure to recognise boundaries, as they go and ask, I've been trying to see Anita, but she doesn't want to date me. Can you have a word with her and let her know that I'm a really nice guy? I don't understand what's wrong. Again, operating with this lack of accountability, boundary invasion, and sense of entitlement, that narcissist, blinded by his narcissism, cannot see that what he's doing is operating with that sense of entitlement, lack of accountability, and lack of boundary recognition. He just thinks, I'm a good guy, because his narcissism tells him that, and he's blind to all of the problems that he's causing. Similarly, this type of narcissist will often turn up unannounced, turning up at someone's door with a gift, with flowers, with chocolates, with a bottle of wine, believing that they should automatically be gained admittance, and when they are politely refused, they then cannot understand why. Indeed, in some instances, the response to this can be that even though they are passive-aggressive, they respond with ignited fury, lashing out, more usually with name-calling, smearing, but occasionally even with physical violence. This, of course, is something that's often witnessed amongst the incel movement, something that I will be talking about on another occasion. It's not to say that everybody involved in that movement, of course, is a narcissist, but they are certainly prevalent for reasons which I'll explain about on another occasion. Accordingly, the individual who believes himself to be a good guy and a nice guy, where they're a narcissist, attempts to engage with the prospective victim, and each failure doesn't compute. He doesn't think to himself, oh, okay, I've asked her out, actually, that was a little bit invasive, wasn't it? So I kind of understand why she said no. Or, yeah, maybe she's just not interested in me. She doesn't want to date at the moment. Perhaps she's dating somebody else. Maybe she doesn't feel that we've got anything in common. So, okay, I tried. I'll move on. With the narcissist, that cannot happen. Why? Because acceptance of the rejection is a loss of control, and the narcissism must guard against that. Instead, the narcissism basically says, get back in there, boy. There must be something wrong with her. She's a bitch, a slut, a man-hater. You're a good guy. You're a great guy. Kind, honest, decent. You're a gentleman. She should be ripping your arm off to be with you. Don't accept no. Make sure that she sees the goodness within you. And rather than recognizing that the person is not interested, the narcissism drives the narcissist by making him feel a particular way and think a particular way so that he continues to try and engage through hoovering in the seduction stage this victim. Again, she rejects. Look, it's very nice of you, but I'm just not interested. The narcissist is incapable of accepting that because the narcissism will not let him. Because to do so would be to lose control. And the narcissism can't allow that to happen. And therefore, no matter how candid the explanation, or even where the victim doesn't respond, because they're not obligated to do so, that wounds, or where they do respond, it challenges the narcissist. And rather than the narcissist go, okay, she's obviously not interested, I'll move on, he keeps pestering. He keeps turning up. He keeps complimenting. He might even then start to smear her to somebody else as a response by way of indirect control. The good guy can't see that his behaviours are not commensurate with that of being a good guy. He can't see that over-complimenting somebody that he barely knows, repeatedly turning up when uninvited, buying gifts for someone that he barely knows, repeatedly contacting that person through social media, approaching friends and family of that person, all exhibits a lack of emotional empathy, a sense of entitlement, a lack of accountability, poor boundary recognition, and his manipulative behaviours. He can't see it because as a lower mid-ranger, or middle range A, or middle range B, he's an unaware narcissist. And therefore the narcissism blinds him to his behaviours, keeping him going. And of course, when it transpires that this individual will not respond to the overtures and perhaps escalates matters, perhaps making a complaint to a particular governing body, seeking a restraining order, or getting somebody else to go and have a word and say, look, she's not interested, leave her alone, that is a threat to control. And rather than back off, invariably the narcissist, wounded or challenged, will either shift to malign hoovering towards the victim or will go around smearing. She's a frigid cow, a man-hater. She's one of those sluts that just will not accept, why is it that she can't accept that I'm a good man? No wonder women get murdered when they treat men like this. All the self-justification generated by the narcissism. Accordingly, when you come across the protestations about somebody maintaining that they're a good guy and they can't understand why somebody won't date or be their girlfriend or spend time with them, it may well be a narcissist at work for the reasons that I have explained. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.